This may be an unpopular opinion with other advisors, but I like to simplify the concept of financial planning. The industry is honest. There are just some of the few representatives, like, a few bad apples will spoil the pot, right?
Yeah. What would you say to me, someone who's very inspired to be in the financial service industry?
Mm.
Hi, my name is Denise Do, CIO of Ensuring Impact, and we're here to be beyond insurance. And I'm so excited to interview our top leaders. And the reason why we want to interview these top leaders is because they're really making a difference in their community. People from different backgrounds. We have veterans, we have immigrants, we have single moms, we have people who lost everything and gained it back. And it was all because of this platform, it was all because of this community, and all because we have a culture to cultivate the right values and the right things. And I can't wait for you to hear from them. I've been so excited to have this conversation with you and having it captured because you just as a human being is amazing. But I know that, but they don't know that yet. So if you can give a quick introduction, who you are and what your background is, please.
Thank you. So Neal Quon. Background, I've been what I would say, I'm a reformed financial advisor in that I'm no longer limiting my identity to a job, right? I would say my background now, obviously, I've been working as a financial planner for over 2 decades, and circumstances, opportunities have presented themselves throughout just what's happened in the economy that's allowed me to really change my identity, my relationship that I want to have with how I see what I'm supposed to do professionally to help people. And so now I really say, instead of seeing myself as a financial advisor, and when I say traditional, so there's nothing wrong with that. It just, for me, what's always been at the heart of what I do is education. My mother was a lifelong educator. I was raised in a home where, it was very structured, but in a manner that helped me see the value of pouring back into others, teaching others, right? Passing on knowledge, right? And I didn't realize that was part of my DNA until I started talking to customers, improving their relationship with how they understood money. Because one thing I've realized is that financial literacy has always been lacking. One of the reasons I believe that we have the issues that we have, lack of savings, high debt, is that people don't understand money properly. And that there's not to say that there's one way to do it versus another.
Yeah.
It's just money is a very personal thing. It means different things. It represents different things to other people. And so really my identity is who I am. I try to be that chameleon to help people understand that having a healthy relationship with money is going to be different, but I want to make it approachable.
Wow. So are you how long have you been a financial advisor?
Let's see. Well, I mean, I started in the financial industry back in 1996, right? Moved to New York City, got my degree in financial planning. Started off with a very well-known insurance carrier to start off their financial planning department in 2000. Moved to New York City 2 weeks before 9/11. So I was working for other firms in that instance, and then I finally went on my own in 2003. So I guess I'm now starting on my 21st year as an independent in this space.
This might be a weird question, but this is the first thing that came to mind. And
Sure.
Did you go to New York to be like a Wolf of Wall Street? Were you inspired to be like, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, financial advisor, I want to move to New York, I'm going to live this lavish life. I just saw Wolf of Wall Street all over.
You know what? It's interesting. So I grew up in the 80s, right? There was movies like Wall Street, Wolf, Gordon Gekko, Greed is Good. And I actually, in my mind, I thought, well, hey, if I was going to work in finance in 2000, I might as well be, hey, I might as well go to the financial capital of the world at that time. I didn't know what that would look like because the world of being a financial advisor there's so much depth.
Yep.
There's a lot of different shapes. And that actually, back to my original comment, leads to part of the confusion in the minds of consumers. They think anybody that touches money is a financial advisor. But in, Wolf Wall Street, that's that could be a boiler room type room. That could be a type of situation where people are just churning and burning stocks. My actual upbringing in the industry was financial planning, more strategy. So I didn't realize that at the time. I don't think that was ever part of my character to just be, hey, just get all the money in the world. I just have always, getting back to the DNA of being a teacher and wanting to educate people. I think that was really more my identity. I just wanted to be closer to what I felt was the heartbeat at the time.
Yeah. And I'm glad the industry has someone like you, because naturally for me, I was stereotyping, right? Hey, this guy's a financial advisor. He's going to Wall Street. Great. Money.
Mm-hmm.
But you're keeping the industry honest, which is really refreshing.
I appreciate that. That's a big task. I honestly think by and large the industry is honest. There are just some of the few representatives, like a few bad apples will spoil the pot, right? And so I think that a lot of what makes it hard for good advisors to survive is that 5-year hump. And honestly, most of them will burn out and die out, and they need to survive to eat. And there's so many different training models. Luckily, what helped me, as I was blessed enough to work with a firm that was based on financial planning. We managed money, but we did the plans first, right? And that allowed me as a junior planner to have a different compensation model. So I was able to keep the lights on in my formative years, right? So there was a combination of base salary plus commission or fees, right? But most agents or advisors that come in the industry, they don't know. They get drawn to the money, and it's very commission heavy. You eat what you kill, right? And so, in my mind, you think I'm trying to save the industry. I just felt like I was blessed to enter in a manner that allowed me to really nurture the educational spirit of developing strategies for people. And I feel really validated by helping them understand the game, right? How do you make a financial decision based on the resources that you have? I often will talk to people. I try to make it simple for them to understand. There are other advisors that they just love to hear themselves talk about how smart they are, or how their performance in their portfolios are better than the next guy. And I would say, you know what? There's always going to be somebody that's a better stock picker, right? Where I chose to differentiate myself, it wasn't about trying to save the industry. It was about trying to truly help people. So the analogy I give is like, hey, you want to bake a cake. Well, you don't know what kind of cake you're going to make until you understand what ingredients you have. And maybe you're missing some ingredients. Well, let's help you find that. Finding an approachable conversation is the first step to helping people make change for their situation. And that may be an oversimplification. That's really my heart.
And I sense that a lot. And being over 20 years, 2 decades in the industry.
I know.
And knowing you and your background, which we want to get to know more. Not only are you teaching and educating, that's your heart, it's who you are, your clients. But there's a wave of those looking up to you for mentorship to be successful in this industry, because they want to care, they want to educate. They feel like they want to make a difference in this industry too, because everything touches money. And you know how to teach people how to control it, right? I'm going to ask you from a perspective of a mentor.
Okay.
I'm a ambitious wannabe Wolf of Wall Street, right? I want to make a lot of money because that's what I saw on TV. I'm going to go get my series, whatever. I'm not sure how many licenses I need. You know, sit me down. You can see I'm ambitious. I have a good heart, right? But I don't have leadership yet. You sit down with me.
Okay.
What would you say to me, someone who's very inspired to be in the financial service industry, and I want to make a difference?
That's a heavy question, especially when you put the term mentor on somebody. I think it's very easy to throw around, hey, I'm inspired, I want to be like that person. But a mentor is somebody that can speak honestly to you and impart knowledge and wisdom through experience, but also sometimes through those tough love conversations. So when somebody comes to me and say, hey, I want to do these things, I think the number one thing I would probably want to better understand for them, so I could help guide them is to help them understand, okay, why do you want to do this? Because honestly, if I would say that, hey, if it's just for the money, that's not a big enough why. Chasing the money is very short term because you can make a lot of money, but you could also, and there's ethical ways to do it and there's unethical ways to do it. If you're asking me to coach you on how to do that, you may not like my approach because my approach is not fast money. I'm trying to build long-term relationships, not transactional. And that's not to say that somebody who wants to build a transactional based, trading based relationship, that there's what I love about this industry, there's space for people, advisors and agents, professionals like that. That's not who I am. So if somebody would ask me, what should I do before I even take on the responsibility of being somebody's mentor, I would want to make sure that we're a good fit. Culturally, from a professional culture perspective, from a goals alignment perspective. I also believe that mentorship is not a permanent thing. Nobody in our lives, even friends, relationships, or even customers, are promised to stay in your life for forever, right? I've had some very dear friendships that we've lost touch just because life takes us in different directions. But I know that if I were to ever call them, we can pick it up again. So when someone asks me what should I do, it's like, well, how long do we have to work together? There's a little bit of a gamification. And if you think about it, it's almost like financial planning. When somebody asks me to do a financial plan for them, it's like mentoring them as a customer. So we're mentoring them to accomplish a goal. And this may be an unpopular opinion with other advisors, but I like to simplify the concept of financial planning. It's just goal management. We've all done project management before, right? I want to lose weight by my reunion. I want to have a six-pack by summer. Whatever. Okay, well, let's say it's January. Start of the new year, New Year's resolution. Summer is 6 months away. Can I get a six-pack? Can I lose weight? Yes. But how much weight do you want to lose? You have to quantify a goal. You have to be specific about the time. So the same thing applies in financial planning. What's the size of my goal? How quickly do I want to do it? What am I willing to do to affect that change? And what outside resources do I have to help me? Same thing professionally for a junior advisor. You want to make this money? Okay, great. By when? What are you willing to do? What kind of work do you want to do? Are you willing to work sometimes dark to dark? As somebody who I've learned from in the past, he was up and out of the house before dark, didn't come back before dark, and some people are willing to do that work and others are not. And so being a mentor is being able to then identify, can you adapt and truly teach based on the needs of the person that you're instructing, right? So I don't know if
it's so profound because you're putting yourself in their shoes versus most people that when I ask a question like that, they automatically start shooting without even knowing their audience. So you're like your heart and your spirit. That's why people want to be mentored or guided by you one way or another as a client or even as a business partner or a mentee. So those 4 things, I'm going to have to watch this episode again and take notes. That's why I'm glad this is recorded and you need to be captured. I have one last question for you.
Sure.
How would you like to ensure impact beyond insurance?
Beyond insurance? I think a couple of years ago, I would not even been able to answer that question. But now really owning that identity of, it used to be that client-advisor relationships by nature are somewhat conflict-oriented. I'm trying to get you to do something that you may not want to do, right? And I've changed my perspective on that, where I've now come around the other side of the table. I'm sitting next to you versus across the table from you, right? So I really liken the role that I have to being more like, let's choose another analogy, like a personal trainer. How do we help you become financially fit? Sometimes a personal trainer will make you do things or ask you to do things that are uncomfortable. But we understand that the process, the uncomfortableness, is part of actually achieving that goal. So I really see myself, call it financial trainer, a financial educator. at the end of the day, how I want to make an impact beyond just insurance is helping people understand that it is possible to have a healthy relationship with money. It is possible to accomplish your goals depending on the work that you're willing to put in, given enough time. The other thing I want people to help understand is that it's not too late. So many people oftentimes give up and they say, well, I'm in my 40s, I'm in my 50s, it's too late. No, it's just a matter of understanding the goals, managing the project called you to then accomplish what you want, and giving them permission to change their mind.
Giving them permission to change their mind.
So many times people feel like, oh, well, they're embarrassed to talk about their finances. They ask me permission. I get a lot of calls between Christmas or Thanksgiving and Christmas. Can I spend this money? Right? And in reality, I appreciate the advice that they're seeking, but in reality, I'm just helping to facilitate making healthy decisions. Again, it's like training. You know what you need to do. Most people just don't do it. My goal here is to help people find a way to make that happen.
You're so good at what you do, and I know you're going to only be better. I'm honored to know you, and thank you for blessing us with your presence, your wisdom today.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor and privilege to be able to spend some time with you always.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Cut.
Cut.
Awesome.
I don't know.